cheapest kids, we're missing our hits, but hey, at least we try. Recoil's a fight, our groups aren't tight.
Well, I guess we should probably dry fire.
Our drills are a mess, and our splits don't impress. Some might call us extreme, but at least we can't deny. So to hell with expectations, Basecamp's gonna try. We might shoot first, but we're still the worst, so the best we can do is try with Basecamp. You find no escape once you're caught on tape. Every drill's a little bit too much. Casually training, no time for complaining. We're just here for the skills and not the flannel obsession.
Not your daddy.
There is no weak link, just a mindset distinct that cannot be redeemed. So it's time to step aside. So to hell with expectations, Basecamp's gonna try. We might shoot first, but we're still the worst, so the best we can do is try with Basecamp. You watch Basecamp to hell with expectations. Basecamp's gonna try. We might shoot first, but we're still the worst, so the best we can do is try with Basecamp. Press will train the best, so to hell with hesitation. Forfeit Basecamp.
All right, and I think we are live. Holy crap, I think there's 16 people in here. That is 16 more people than I expected. We were just going to treat this as a hangout session with the boys, but hey, how are we all doing?
Damn good.
So, if you'll notice, there are 3 of us. There are supposed to be 4. Knight should be joining. We don't know when. He was fishing, and even though we had agreed on 8 p.m. for how many days? Like at least like 4 or 5 days back.
Enough.
Knight was like, yeah, 8 o'clock works. And then he decided to go fishing and he's been late. So welcome. I guess first off, we just want to do housekeeping. We are incredibly grateful and cannot believe that there are 3,000 people out there who care about us posting silly things. So cheers to the 17 of you watching. You're the real ones. You can say you've been there since the first live stream.
Wait, I totally wasn't ready. I gotta
Okay,
do
no, you're fine.
Did not understand the course of fire.
We
so
never
sorry.
do.
I was
All
in
right.
total awe.
Ready? Cheers.
Ping.
So what's everyone been up to today? That's your invitation to talk.
Ooh.
I was just enjoying the show by Dalton.
Yeah, that was nice. Golly, dude, we're gonna. We're not super familiar with the live stream guidelines for YouTube yet, and
We're not gonna make it out of this one, boys.
We're gonna push them though. I made sure someone didn't crash their boat and go to the bottom of the Gulf. So that's pretty.
Yeah. So Taylor, are you able to explain a little bit about what you do for work? Because Taylor's got a pretty cool job. You sometimes jump out of helicopters into the ocean to rescue people.
Yeah. So I work for the beach safety division of the fire department where I live, which is a glorified way of saying lifeguards. But the misconception a lot of people have is that it's just Baywatch, which, while yes, the slow motion running does happen every now and again, it's actually super intense because it's like you're just hanging out 90% of the time, just watching people. And then all of a sudden it's go time, which either you see that it's go time or you have the radio, which is same radio the rest of the department uses. And it has this god awful sound, which will haunt your nightmares, go off at full volume. And it will call you out if it involves us, and it will say surf rescue. And we're like, shit, go time. And yeah. So, but yeah, we do all kinds of stuff. I mean, we do your classic, just running in the water, hero movement. We have a jet ski. Sometimes we staff the boat. And then occasionally, yeah, we link up with the state troopers and deploy out of the helicopter.
So we've had a couple comments come in, and this is hilarious. So we had Eddie asked if we are over 21. Oh, hold on.
Here we go.
Dude, Tyler, no.
No, and then so Eddie asked, "Are we over 21?" Which the answer is yes. And then Tyler said, "I think they're all like 40." My brother in Christ, we are all. Are we all 29? Actually,
No,
wait. This is important.
30.
Knight had a birthday yesterday.
It's very important.
Cheers to Knight. Knight
Don't
is the
make
first
me
one of us.
down another one.
It's the big 3-0.
You old bastard.
Dalton, you want to give Knight crap now that he's on?
Yeah, I'm going to take the floor for a second. Night, what time did we say we were going to start?
Yeah. Listen, I was not told what time we were going to start until
That is a
when I was
bold-faced
already
lie.
up.
But you were. We were set to get into this lobby at 7:30 to troubleshoot any errors so we could be prepared at 8. I'm going to leave this with a little bit of a story. A couple weeks back, I was going to work out with Knight because we are entering a shooting competition that involves a lot of fitness, the Proving Grounds. And we were set to work out at his father's farm at 3:30 in the afternoon. I get there at 3:30. You know who's not there? Knight. He says, "I'm going to be a few minutes late. Don't worry about it." And his father's like, "That doesn't surprise me at all. You can work out with me in the meantime." So I work out with his dad. He kicks my ass. I work out for an hour and 15 minutes. It is now 4:45. I said, "Fuck this." I'm getting in my car and leaving. And as I'm driving off, Knight's father says, "I don't fucking blame you, son. Knight can't show up on time for anything. He's going to be late to his own funeral."
That one was not my fault because I had agreed to help somebody move, and they vastly overestimated what we were capable of moving with one truck and one trailer.
Hey, Knight, real quick, go into your microphone settings and turn on the echo cancellation.
Where is that going to be?
The settings cog. Someone said fix the mic. I'm gonna send this yours, but
Dude, we've been doing that for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
we've been troubleshooting audio for 30 minutes. Someone was fishing, didn't even catch anything from what I understand.
Fishing, not catching.
Did he catch a buzz?
Yeah, I did. Payne caught a few.
Oh, okay. I thought y'all said you didn't catch anything.
No, it was a slog. It was a tough day. How's that? Is that any better?
It sounds great to me. The chat was talking about it. Okay. So
brought receipt.
Well, Knight, how were the birthday celebrations? You just worked, right?
Yeah. Let me try something on my mic real quick.
I think you're actually good. I think they were just messing with us.
Yeah. Talking shit in real time. I love it.
Oh, it's the best.
And all of you.
Is that any better?
Yeah, I think you're set. I think they were just messing with us and we're gullible.
Fair enough. But yeah, it was good. Me and the fiance went to Atlanta to see Baby Metal, Bloody Wood, and Black Veil Brides.
Oh, Black Veil Brides was on there. That's crazy. Brings
Yeah.
me back to my 2014 days.
I know, it was crazy, and but it was a good show. My bank account got hacked, and my entire paycheck was drained. So
Word.
Oh
So-
my gosh.
that was
Happy
great.
birthday.
Yeah,
Welcome to your 30s, brother.
yeah. So that was a full 2 days of headaches, and then the PD Cybercrimes Division and the banks were closed Thursday for Juneteenth. So I had to wait until Friday, a full day after finding out, to go start working on getting it resolved.
Well, it's fixed now?
No, it will be, but it's going to take probably a week or two before I get my money back.
Golly, dude, that's rough.
Yeah.
So someone commented and said, we want to see some guns. The most we'll be able to offer for that is if all of us flex, because YouTube's firearms guidelines for live streaming are
Dang.
horrible.
I'm busting
Yeah.
out of this shirt, brother.
Yeah,
But,
that an extra small?
Okay, it might be a small. No. For anyone that wants to see a gun, this is the best I can do. This is my gun that I'm using for the Proving Grounds. It's a Sig Sauer Virtus. That is a $3,000 build sitting right there. So feast your eyes, and it directly above it, if you can see, it's a Glock 17 with a can on it. So
Oh.
I didn't know you had a pistol can.
I do have one, but I try not to use it because it's deteriorating.
Hey, is Sierra in the house right now?
Yeah, there's like 3 people on this stream that are in my house.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that. But all right, so I think to get into it, I kind of want to start off. Let's give a brief little history of the channel. So I actually looked back at when we started posting stuff. I guess before we do that, I'll go last, but everyone go around. Like, how long have you been doing stuff with firearms, training into that whole world? I guess let's go counterclockwise. So Knight, Swayze, then Taylor.
So I didn't start doing tactical training until about 2 years ago, air quote tactical training. But I started shooting when I was 5 or 6. Started deer hunting and bird hunting when I was about 7 or 8. Shot my first deer when I was 8, and it just progressed into degeneracy from there. And then started doing some more tactical training about 2 years ago. I guess about 3 years ago, my dad had bought a couple ARs, and I started doing a little bit of plinking here and there with them. But I really started taking it a little bit more seriously once we kind of had a full group of guys to work on it. So as far as that side of things, really only about 2 to 2.5 years.
All right. I've been hunting with my father since I was like 5 years old, but we're talking like bolt action rifles, 308s, things of that nature. I actually didn't kill my first deer till I was well into my 20s. So all those years of hunting, didn't get anything.
I still haven't killed one, so that's fine.
But I've probably been tactical shooting the longest out of the 4 of us. I have been doing it since I graduated high school. I've just been obsessed with competition shooters like, Jerry Michalek and his daughter Lena. So that's probably 10, 15 years in. I don't know how old I am anymore. But I've been so obsessed with guns since I was a little kid, and I've just always wanted to apply that to something for fun, and we've made a channel out of it now.
And I have the least amount of experience out of all of us. I think I did like some kind of air rifle day camp when I was like 12. But beyond that, and the very occasional, very lucky time of getting to hang out with some of my dad's cop buddies growing up on the other side of the aisle, because we come from the hose dragger section. Ain't that right, Knight?
Hose dragger.
That sounds like a slur. I know it's just firefighter.
Might be a
but
porn
It
name.
is.
It
Get
is.
the hose dragger in here.
Hey man, it's the best job in the world to get paid while you lie on your back. Anyway,
Best job I ever had.
that's right. I've gotten to shoot a couple of different guns here and there, but not like actually anything long enough to actually learn anything about them, anything about the mechanics of the guns, anything about like progression in shooting. I've been hunting once when I was like 14. My family doesn't have hunting land. Just got lucky, so didn't have my first confirmed kill until with these boys. Thank you, Knight. So
yeah, you're lucky my gun jammed because I was so excited to kill that deer.
hey man, divine intervention is what
That's
it is.
right. Yeah, I guess I'll go. So I guess apart from Taylor, I have the least experience. I remember Knight took me hunting when we were in probably 8th grade. And I remember we went out to sight in a rifle. And I remember my mind being blown that it wasn't just like the movies where like you just put the scope on the gun and it's good. Like the fact that you actually had to zero in optic as an 8th grader just wrecked me. And also wearing hearing protection. I was like, all these movies I'm watching, I'm like, they don't wear earmuffs. This is stupid.
Dude, that's my biggest. Go ahead. Sorry, that's my
Yeah,
biggest gripe.
And then I think the first gun you ever put me on, Knight, was the 7mm
Ooh.
as an 8th grader.
Ooh, I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
So that was basically it. I'd always like really liked the idea of that whole world, but my special flavor of autism was catered towards video production. So like 3 or 4 years ago, I actually had a client who I was doing a bunch of work for, and he was super into guns, and he actually gifted me because I told him, I'm like, yeah, dude, I love all that stuff. I just like, I've never bought anything. And he gifted me a Shield. What's the subcompact? The M&P. It's like a Shield 2.0, but it's the tiny one. And he gifted that to me, and it just went from there. And so I don't like hang on to my collection of firearms. I kind of like trade, and if I don't like something, I'll get rid of it and then get something else. I have a few things that I'll have forever. But man, it has gone from there, and I just latched onto it, and now we have a whole YouTube channel, and we're doing a live stream, and we're entering competitions, and we're having people sponsor our ammo. Shout out Gun Prime.
Yeah, Gun Prime. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brother. What's up, brother?
So great.
So
Brother.
yeah, it's been wild. But as far as history of Basecamp goes, so I actually went and looked back at the stats. We did a range day in 2023. And the purpose of that is did y'all just see the thumbs up on my screen?
Yeah, it's still on your screen.
That's
weird.
great. But the purpose of that range day is I wanted with my production company to start doing work in the firearms and outdoor industry. And I was already doing a lot of stuff in the outdoor industry, but we had already been getting into training together and doing that type of stuff. And so I just bought like 3,000 rounds of assorted ammo, maybe more than that. I got the steel plates. We went down to Knight's Farm. We had like, how many people were there at the peak? Like 6, 7?
I think 7. Like, because we and it wasn't like we had a couple new shooters. Like we had my roommate Dan, and then one of my medics, Dalton. But a lot of people had. No, different Dalton, one of my paramedics. And it was like people who had some, like, I don't think anybody there was a completely unexperienced shooter. Like, I know my roommate Dan, he's got some experience mostly with bird hunting and skeet shooting. And then, Dalton, he comes from the, paramedic side, and I know his dad's a big gun guy, former military, and he's done some shooting and some deer hunting over the years. He's got an AR built. And then another guy that we've shot with Basecamp, which is Sam. He's a former military, current sheriff's deputy, and just kind of cycled through some folks. But other than putting Dan on his little subcompact pistol, that was like the only person I think that we've ever shot with that's been like totally inexperienced.
Yeah. But from that day, my goal was I just want to film everything, and I'm going to cut together some cool videos and send those out to companies so that I can like book work in this space. And so I think I walked away from the day, I'd filmed like 4 terabytes of stuff. And then I was like, I kind of want to post this. So I started the Basecamp channel it was October of 2023. No, that's not even right. So looking here at the stats, we did the range day in 2023. I did not post a reel because the first 16 people that subscribed to us, we only posted YouTube shorts. So we set on all of that footage for a full year. And in late 2024, we started posting stuff. And the name Basecamp came from the logo, because when I had the branding work done for my company, since I do a lot of work in the outdoor space, all of like my brand stuff was outdoor themed. And one of the logos that I ended up not using, but I still paid for, was the like mountains and tent. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to use that for something. So, we came up with Basecamp because it doesn't have the word tactical in it. And I feel like everybody making a YouTube channel, they just pick a word and then put tactical behind it. And it's so cringy and overplayed. But last December, so December of 2024, we actually posted our first video. It was just like, we did another range day. Cause at that point we had been training a decent bit together, not as much as we are now.
We probably did like 2 or 3 range days over the full year.
Yeah, and we posted that first Get Good video where it was just super, super simple, like diagrams of the course we set up, and then we would run it. And we gained a good little bit. We gained like 50 to 100 subscribers from that. We got good feedback. And I remember looking at it and I was like, we might be onto something here. And not even in the sense of like making money. It's just, we just have fun doing this. Like we've spent way more money doing this than we've made. We
haven't made any money.
Yeah,
you guys are getting paid?
Yeah, I think in our AdSense account we have $24, and they don't even pay you out until you get to 100. And I accidentally messed up a month ago and turned off our AdSense, and you can't make changes to your AdSense except for every 32 days. So actually next Wednesday, we will be able to make money again. So those pennies are going to come rolling in, boys.
I expect my $3.
Exactly. But then our second video was that how to train video. And that for us blew up. It got 14,000 views. And I think we gained like 1,000 subscribers for that.
Which was really surprising. I had no idea that was going to happen. And it felt weird against the algorithm at the time that's the one that did it.
It really did. And the funny thing I've learned about YouTube, even like being someone who's worked in marketing my entire life, is the videos we put effort into, nobody cares about and no one watches them. And the videos that we think, I'm like, we just need to put something up today, they do really well. And like the Glock one that we just posted the other day, like how to get or why people say to get a Glock and AR. I genuinely thought, I was like, and I have fun making all of our videos. That's why I do it, is it's just fun. But I was like, this is going to be one of those ones that we get a couple hundred views on. And it's on track to get like 14,000 views tonight. And we're probably going to gain 1,000 subscribers from it. And it's just like, golly, it's always the stuff we don't care about that does well.
You know, the MCX video we made very recently, Harrison and I Harrison bought a $2,000 rifle for that. If you were wondering, he spent $2,000.
Don't worry though, we've made $12.
On a Gen 1 MCX. And then him and I have put thousands of rounds through our respective MCXs. Mine is the Virtus, his is the Gen 3 Spear. And how many views did we get on that? Like 3,000 maybe?
Yeah, it'll push up to 3,000.
And then a good majority of those people were being like, this video sucks. Like Like, I was so mad, and then he drops a video where he's just press checking a Glock like John Wick, and that's gonna be our most viewed video. I don't understand YouTube.
They called me out on that. It was funny. They're like, this dude
I-
says he's recovering from being a gun hipster, but he press checks like John Wick.
I
I
saw
thought that was
recovering, not recovered.
I thought that was hilarious.
Which brings me to another comment regarding our name Basecamp. A few videos back. Hey guys, you might want to change your name from Basecamp. I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, and it's some super crazy street drug that's killing a bunch of people. So maybe you want to change it. And I cannot find that video.
I can't either. I have Googled,
Basecamp.
I have Chat GPT'd. And first and most importantly, my opinion on that is I don't care. We're going to keep our name.
Yeah.
I literally just don't care. We can name the channel Gun Crack. I literally don't care.
Right.
But I Googled Chat GPT for like an
Ow.
entire day. I found nothing.
Well, if it's not on ChatGPT, it's not real. So I think
Exactly.
he just made that up. Maybe he wanted the name or something. But and since we're talking about YouTube comments, there's one that I just have to gripe about a little bit and see if anyone that's watching has heard
He
it.
got one guide.
Just listen. When you stick an AR mag into an AR, if you don't slap the bottom of it, I don't know what you're doing. And some guy, he sort of insulted us because mostly Harrison and I don't know about Taylor or Knight, but when we stick a mag into our ARs, we slap the bottom of it to make sure it's seated properly. It's standard procedure. And this guy was like, it's bad for the mag. It's bad for the ammo. It's bad for your receiver. And you really shouldn't do that. It's an outdated tactic. And like he was like sort of insulting, like he was turning his nose up at us. And the people on YouTube that get on our videos just to insult us,
They're my favorite.
They're
I
the
love
reason
it.
I keep doing
I
it.
love it.
Exactly. Like, I'm gonna slap the mag harder now.
Well, so the funny thing is, I read that comment and I went in my garage and dry fired and did reloads, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I am doing this wrong."
No,
I love
no.
I love that you just doubled down and you're like, "I will continue to do it like this."
I'm gonna slap it harder because I run a $450 PSA.
There you go. There you go. But actually, that's
Brownwater's
great.
got the right idea.
Wait, what?
Brownwater's got the right idea.
There we go.
Gotta slap that ass.
Well, no, that's funny because I was prepared. Like, if we were to talk about getting mean comments, the videos we post that get mean comments are actually my favorite because the only way you're getting mean comments is if you're getting more views than normal. So when we actually get comments that are like hating on us, I'm like, oh, I love this. Also, like, if you have people that disagree with you, you're doing life right. Like, if you go through all of life and nobody disagrees with you, you've probably never done anything important, I think. So there you go.
Speaking of haters, this will be a great topic of conversation if you guys are down. Right here is a Sig P320, and it's not an IED, guys.
Are you getting on this already?
I just want to talk about it right quick because when we dropped our kit video, we got like a lot of haters in that one. It's like, it's nothing but Palmetto State Armory rifles and SIG handguns. Like, that's like, people were so upset that we run PSA and SIG.
Completely ignoring my FN.
What, do you even run that anymore? Don't you run a Glock?
Yeah, he made a whole video about running a Glock. I don't know. I've never even heard of FN. It must be an underground indie company.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They really love their customers. They want you to suppress all their guns.
Hey, boys.
Don't they? And they just don't want to, they just void you for it. But,
Hey, boys.
what's up, man?
First, Squid said, Allahu Sigbar. Love that.
Oh, by the
Oh my
way,
God.
Knight, you know who?
Goated comment.
Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
shoot the squid.
Second, Ethan said, do you have advice on how to find guys to shoot and train with?
Ooh, come shoot with us, man.
Yeah, if you're in Alabama, hit us up. That's a tough one. The how to train video went into that a little bit because obviously what you don't want to do is just like go to a range and go, hey, you want to come hang out? Like, come shoot guns with me. Come on.
Come look at my Glock.
It's
I'll watch
and-
a little TV.
Yeah, and like the simplest but most frustrating answer to it is like you have to be personable and you need to be a person that people would want to hang out with in the first place. Or option 2 is assuming you already have friends, just slowly over the course of a year or two, bully them into buying firearms and training with you, and then there you go. That's what we did.
Can I make a comment on that? I have 2 decent suggestions, and this is kind of dependent on like where you live and also kind of your budget. But man, if you already shoot, a great way, especially, and this ties back into our why you should get into hunting video, is find a hunting club to get into, because then you're going to be automatically integrated into probably a pretty good group of guys that are all interested in the same stuff. They're all into either deer hunting or turkey hunting or stuff like that. And chances are they've probably got some ARs, and you're going to have a camp house where people hang out and cook and eat together. Another great suggestion is private gun clubs. And I know they're expensive, but they're probably going to be about the same price as, your HOA fees or a deer club per year. And a lot of the private clubs that you pay to be a member in to use their like private shooting range, there's going to be a lot of good guys there, and they put on workshops and all kinds of classes. I know there's a couple around here. I know that Taylor's I know Dalton's got a local club over there where he is. There's one over a little ways north of me, and there's a lot of good group of guys in there. And you kind of just have to show up places and talk to people. Don't get on like a forum or Reddit.
Yeah.
Just real quick in the chat, Duke and Anthony, when you said you're trying to get away from PDPs, do you mean a Walther PDP? Just comment and let me know exactly what you're talking about. If you mean the Walther PDP, keep it. The Walther PDP is an excellent handgun. There's nothing wrong with it. And then to Hunter R, in regards to exactly what Knight was just talking about, how to find friends with land. You don't necessarily have to find land. There's a lot of...
I saw that, Harrison.
Pains in here.
Oh, is he? Oh, slap it harder, Daddy. You don't have to find land so much. You just need to find a gun range. Like my local gun range actually has private and tactical ranges in the back acres where you have barrels for obstacles and things like that where you can train with. It is hard to find land. I sympathize with that. But luckily we have Knight, who's sitting on like 6,000 acres of land for us to train.
Ooh, 215.
Oh, my bad. Only 215. Hey, guys, I got to take a piss break. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I'll jump in for Hunter's question. Hunter, this is going to really come down to whether you're in the southeast or really what side of the Mississippi you're on. Really big thing right now you've probably seen on social media is that whole public land thing, which sucks hard. But everywhere out west, they have BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, and it's just wild land that you can go and do whatever you want on. And it's some of the most beautiful spots in the world, like just wild, untouched lands, and it's like perfectly legal. You can go camp there. I think the limit is usually you can't camp there longer than 30 days in a row, but that's pretty absurd. But you can shoot guns there. It's basically completely unregulated.
He said North Georgia.
North Georgia, look at that.
There's this one shooting range called the Metro Atlanta area.
Jeez, Taylor. If
you're in North Georgia, you need to check out the National Forest Service, because there's tons of completely public ranges, and you can pay like a $10 fee or whatever.
Yeah, so
public ranges.
Where I train by my house, there's a local WMA range, and it's pretty basic. You can't shoot and move. It's all like shooting bays that are covered. But if I just want to go down and put 5,000 or 500 rounds through a handgun in a morning, I'll go to the WMA range. And if you have any valid hunting, fishing, any kind of outdoor license for the state that you're in, you can shoot for free for a year. So I do have a hunting license, but if you don't want to pay the, what is it, like $60, $70 for a deer license, Night?
it's like $40 in Alabama. Plus, if you pay for a bait fee, it's like another 15.
Yeah, but at least Alabama, there's a heritage license, which is like $13, and that lets you shoot at those WMA ranges for free for an entire year, at least for $13.
Yo, Juicy Media is in the chat right now.
Yeah, no, he
What is up,
commented on one of our
Juicy Media?
videos. I'm a
Oh my
big.
God. What's up,
I've been
Juicy?
watching
What's
his
up,
stuff
brother?
for a bit.
FRT on the MP5. What's up, man?
Yeah, no, he does killer suppressor reviews. He's got me sold on a 5.56 can once I build my AR.
Wait, not getting away from them, just buying a Glock instead of PDBs. Yeah, Dugan. Glock makes good products. They're relatively affordable, and I would recommend a 17 or a 19. Harrison got the 19X, and that would probably be what I would recommend over anything. Would you guys agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah, because Taylor's got the 19, and I like the 19 a lot. I could conceal that better, but I actually tend to, well, apart from right now, like when I came home from the gym, I'm wearing a workout shirt. I tend to wear like baggier shirts, and I'm also 6'2", 190, which on 6'2", that's pretty skinny, but I can conceal carry a full size pretty easily. Like I can walk around with my 19X, and I have 19 plus 1, and no one's gonna know. But the 19 was great. But I do really, really, really like the larger mag and the larger grip on the 19X, plus the threaded barrel, and it came with the MOS system, so cool. You know, I can't say a ton of good things about it. That was the whole point of the video I posted. I'm like, it's a Glock, it works, and fortunately or unfortunately, I just shoot Glocks really, really well, and I don't know why that is, but whenever I use Taylor's Glock versus my FN, I actually shot better.
Well, it's likely due to the low bore access. You know, Glock, I believe, has the lowest bore access out of any major handgun. But that also, if you're talking about the 19 or the 19X, or even I know Knight has a Glock 43, are you looking to conceal it, or are you looking for like training in a tactical situation with an out of the waistband?
Yes, I went with a 43X because I'm the shortest person out of Basecamp. I'm 5'7", and I have the smallest hands. So the 43X is actually super nice for me.
Victim height.
Not with a 43X in my hand.
Fair enough.
Do we want to go ahead? Let me see what I have next. I think we were.
Hang on, I want to answer Dylan real quick.
Okay, answer Dylan, and then we're going to change topics.
He was asking what a day of training is like for proving grounds.
Brother, we don't know.
Yeah, we're kind of figuring it out. So, just quick, one of my guys on my fire department, he recently competed in the tactical games. Harrison and I did a video with him. It's going to be Brandon Ripple over at Farm to Target. He's getting started on some YouTube stuff. He competed in the tactical games. We've been taking some stuff from his training and gearing it towards ours. So it's a mixture. A lot of us have started gearing more from the weightlifting, bodybuilding, powerlifting type stuff that we were doing, and are gearing more towards high cardio, high endurance training, a lot of HIIT stuff, a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? CrossFit.
We need to be able to breathe.
CrossFit. You're looking for the word CrossFit.
CrossFit. A lot of CrossFit.
Right, Dylan?
Unalive me right now.
Yeah.
So, wait, Taylor, speaking of CrossFit, didn't you do Murph?
Yeah, I did. Done it every year
about
for
that
the last
first
5 years. Hey, man, it's just tradition. Our whole entire squad at work gets together and we do it because our chief is actually a part-time coach. And so we get the gym all to ourselves every Memorial Day. And it sucks.
Yeah, so Dylan, I believe, did Murph as well, who asked about training for the proving grounds. That's likely why he's asking about because he's massive into CrossFit. I believe he did Murph, and I've worked out with him a few times, and he works me to death. If that boy knew how to shoot, he'd be unstoppable.
Yeah. I think the philosophy we took is we're overtraining because like what we're expected to do for this competition, a lot of dummy drags. What's Rescue Randy weigh? Like 180?
But it kind of depends. 160 to 180.
Yeah, that and then sandbag stuff. So it's typically going to be a 40 or 50-pound sandbag that they put on your shoulders, and then you have to still move through and do a course of fire with that bag. So we trained with a 100-pound bag because the philosophy there is it's going to seem easier on the day of, and do
There's
that
also
one.
a lot of farmer carries as well.
Yeah. What is everyone's individual workouts looking like? And I don't just mean like proving grounds training. Because I know we all have slightly different styles. Dalton is you kind of do what, little tiny boy bodybuilding?
I'm so sorry that I have abs and you guys don't. My bad. I actually have 2 torn rotator cuffs and I have fractures in my lower vertebrae. So I really just work out to look good with my shirt off. But now that we are doing the proving grounds, which is going to incorporate a lot of heavy lifting, I'm doing heavy lifting. But I work out 3-4 days a week. I typically do full body, but since I'm training for the proving grounds, I'm isolating different muscle groups. I have a push day, a pull day. I do cardio every single day. And just trying to get my body ready to deal with the cumbersome nature of the proving grounds. Because for people that don't know that are watching the proving grounds, it's going to be, they say 70% shooting, 30% fitness, but I look at it more like 50-50.
Yeah.
And so what is the requisite for the weight of your kit on your body? Is it 15 pounds?
I think 15 to 20 pounds for your carrier for men.
For your plate carrier without
ammo, without mags.
So
Yeah.
when you put ammo in there and you have your handgun and you have your belt and you have your rifle, you're looking at 30 pounds on your body at all times. And then you're dragging 100 to 150 pound weights. It is going to get heavy very fast. And I'm trying to train for that as much as I can. So I am running with my kit, which you can barely see in the background, which right now weighs 25 pounds. And I'm probably just going to keep it like that because I want to train how I play. So yeah. I'm running 2 miles a day with that on myself, and I'm pushing my daughter in a stroller.
That's awesome.
At the exact time. And believe me, I've gotten some looks going through my little neighborhood because I'm not wearing a shirt. I'm wearing this kit on it with a bulletproof vest with ammo, and I'm pushing a baby nonetheless. And I've got stopped a couple of times, so it's certainly an interesting look.
It looks like you're stealing a child.
Yeah. Cops drive by me though a few times. Daphne PD has driven by me and they slow down, but they haven't stopped yet.
Taylor, someone commented and just said you require experience to unlock because you're so dark. I tried to have him turn a light on. He wouldn't do it.
You're all on, dude. I don't know what to say.
I've kept my workouts the same, but I've added in cardio because I hate just moving fast. But what I realized is it doesn't matter if I can deadlift 405 if I get out of breath when I run.
Amen.
Yeah. Instead of using my regular kit, what I've transitioned to doing is I've been going back to what I was doing when I was training for CPAT and a lot of other like firefighter centric competitions. And I've been wearing a 45-pound CrossFit vest. And I've been doing a ton of uphill walking. So usually I'll do about a mile or two of that. And I try to do that every other day, if not every day. I've been doing a ton of kettlebell swings, a ton of farmer's carries. I have really bad tendonitis in my wrist. So I've been trying to bomb proof my wrist and upgrade my grip strength and trying to do more to help stabilize my back. I took a long time off from doing any heavy lifts. So I've been slowly working back up on deadlifts and shoulder stuff.
Sorry, Al in the chat for Taylor's lighting. Sorry.
Didn't know I was going to get fucking bullied in here.
Yeah, well, and then Taylor's the fittest person out of all of us. He's the strongest, and he does probably the most cardio.
Yeah, that's why I'm paid DLC.
You probably have the best mustache too. Hey, chat, who has the best mustache?
Wait. I just saw somebody comment about this that I have the best mustache.
I think Knight
You
does.
you have the second best mustache.
Whoa!
I shaved.
Whoa!
I just shaved
No, no, no,
before I
no,
got
no.
on, guys, and it looked way better. I'm telling you, I would have won, but I shaved.
See, Squid agrees with
So
me.
sorry to
I'm with
interrupt.
Squid. It's Knight.
Yeah, Knight 100%.
Look, here's the thing. Taylor is able to his comes up, so he's able to get twist. He can shape it. I just have like the super thick, super dark porn stash. But
Yeah.
It's-
I'm very flexible, but Knight is
but
stiff.
it comes in. It comes in nice.
Taylor, what can you deadlift right now if you just went and tried to max out?
Probably 450.
Oh my god.
Dang, bro, that's
No,
weaker.
actually,
I've seen you.
500.
I've seen you
at
rep
Pierce's
495.
wedding.
He's got to be in shape for pulling people out of the water for this summer.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah, man. Well, my training kind of like has a built-in schedule with work.
Thank you, Squid.
Because thanks, Squid. Because every like February or March, and then right now actually we have to do our requalification swims. So the month or so beforehand, like everything kind of shifts to that, because I don't know if anyone has ever swam before, but it's not fun if you don't
It
do
sucks.
especially when there's a time limit on it, and if you don't have good technique and you don't know that there's a way to be able to breathe without keeping your head out of the water, like I did my first year, it's very, very challenging. So, but with that, it's nice because like every May we do the
You
pro.
got darker.
You made your lighting worse.
Dude, I don't know what to do.
Swimming it? Jesus.
That's
Squid, you're
insanity.
insane. So
I don't recommend swimming in kit. However, I do recommend if you can get a 10-pound weight brick. Most pools have it because pool guards through the Red Cross have to do this brick swim thing. If you can get a brick and you can do some underwater swimming with it, that 10 pounds will whoop you. You can also just become friends with whoever is at your local pool. You can do drags, like you can drag rescue Randys or other objects through the pool and put like a rescue tube around them. That will zap you too. But right now though, since I just did my
whoa, you're cutting out.
right now, Mondays and Saturdays are strength.
Oh no.
And
Mondays and Saturdays are strength. Tuesdays and Fridays are conditioning, and then Wednesdays like straight up weightlifting.
heck yeah. That's a good segue with swimming,
Yeah.
though, because just to keep us on track a little bit, I wanted to have you and Knight share some work stories, because my job's fun, but it's not necessarily related at all to the space that we make videos in. And you and Knight kind of, you're on track. So you guys have some fun stories for the chat.
Oh yeah, I'll let Taylor start. I kind of wanted to see if chat had anything that they wanted to ask. If anybody is, you know,
Taylor's free trial is running out. God, chat's undefeated out here. I'm sorry. Keep going.
but I figured some of the people in chat might have something that they might want to hear, because Taylor and I are in similar first responder fields but different. We both come from a firefighter background, but he's transitioned to like beach and surf rescue, and I'm municipal fire and medical. So,
Which,
I didn't-
by the way, go watch our medical video. That's out of everything we've ever posted that actually has useful information, that has the most and literal life-saving information in it, and no one watched it. So go watch that video.
That's what I mean. Like, no one watches anything that we put effort into, but I just don't understand
Oh.
YouTube.
yeah, Zach, you're absolutely right with the Landwell 2 a.m. lift assist. I literally had one at 2 a.m. this morning.
Whoa. What's your
Dude.
favorite adult beverage?
Oh,
Before you get onto your stories, which will take up some time, just real quick, let's just go around.
I'm a bourbon guy. I don't really like beer at all, because when I turned 25, the second I turned 25, and I'm almost 30 now, I realized that having more than one beer made me feel like garbage for the next day.
Yeah.
So basically just liquor for me, and I rarely drink. I have like 1 or 2 a month, but for tonight,
Taylor?
That's a
Yeah.
tough one. Big fan of the Appleton Estate rum, just straight up Jamaican rum.
Well, I have been drinking Blue Steels all night, but I already drank all 4 of mine that I bought.
jeez.
And well, it's celebratory. So I have now switched to Twisted Tea.
All the twee.
Maybe they'll sponsor us soon because I know how to put these bad boys down. I also don't drink. I drink on my birthday. I drink on vacation. And then I drink during UFC pay-per-views. But beyond that, I do not drink. So realistically, once a month. But today is celebratory. We have a fucking ammo sponsor. So I'll drink to
Shout
that.
out Gun Prime.
And then we have 3,000 plus YouTube subscribers. So thank you, Gun Prime. Thank you, everyone watching. Thank you, Davo, for giving me a chance to pour a Twisted Tea into the glass, a chilled glass, nonetheless.
Yeah,
Nice,
just being straight up. We're all pushing 30. There's no damn way Twee is going to sponsor us.
Hey, if you can get Gun Prime,
Yeah, I
we
mean,
can
why
get
not?
Twisted Tea.
Why not?
And the only thing I want so bad, since we talk about sponsors, is Savage Tacticians.
Oh my
I'm
God.
looking for you. Knight, what you got?
I'm a big summertime beer guy. I like a Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. My absolute favorite summer beer of all time is the Sam Adams Porch Rocker, and it's a lemon radler. So it's basically half beer, half lemonade. And oh my God, it just hits, son.
Time out. Someone
Yeah.
said Twisted Tea drinkers punch drywall. And then Unleaded Blood said Twisted Tea drinkers punch people with the Twisted Tea. Their sales went up 65% after that guy clocked that guy in that gas station.
As they should.
All right, so we got to do this. Let's have Taylor go into his story, and any questions that come in, we're going to answer that after Taylor's story, and then we'll get to Knights. Because if we keep just talking in chat, we're going to be here for 4 hours, which I would like,
I'm down.
but we got to keep things semi-structured.
So I'll play off of Ethan's comment talking about experiences that made you think you needed to get more prepped or switch up. So my first couple of years when I was doing the whole surf rescue thing, I was 100% just strength training, bodybuilding. That's it. 15 minutes of cardio, maybe, if I felt like it. But then my first real good, legit rescue, we probably had about 4.5, 5 foot swells with 4 foot surf coming in, which if you don't know the difference, swells don't break, surf does. So you're still getting out there, you're still getting rocked. It's just not crashing on you the whole time. But swells are typically from probably about 75 to 100 yards off, all the way off into, God knows how far, whereas surf is going to be what actually comes up once the wave height reaches, I think it's 1/3 the depth of the sand or whatever it is that it's going over. That's when it's going to start to crash. But anyway, long day, couple of just BS calls, minor medical calls, nothing crazy. But it's just been brewing, ominous gray skies, stormy, but it's the beach. People pay, thousands of dollars to be here, so they're going to go to the damn beach. It's 7 o'clock. Sunset, I think, is at 7:45. Gray skies, we're already starting to lose light, and we're about to pack up. It's me and 2 other dudes, and we're the last line defense, late shift before we're packed up for the day. And our tone goes off. It says multiple swimmers in distress. We're okay, cool, go time. So we rip down the road. I think my high score on the speedometer was 95 or 100. We're boot scooting boogie.
Were you on the ATV or the jet ski?
This was in the truck.
Okay.
But because where we were at, we had to get off that beach access to hop on the road.
Oh boy.
Trying to go all the way down the sand and then get to the nearest access. And so we rip over there, and they said there's 3 people. We don't see anybody. We see these 2 dudes that are shin deep in the water. like maybe, I don't know, 20 feet off the sand. We're like, there's nobody here. And like right before we pull up, one of them like points and we look. And as we're like rolling up on scene, we just see these swells roll over and we just see a couple dots, probably like 300 yards off. And we're just like, holy shit. And so we go out and we're like, this is my first year. So this is 2020.
And so to clarify, you swam 300 yards out?
No. So
Okay.
they were probably about 300 when we saw them. The issue is that when you have a big swell as opposed to big surf, swell will come through, but it won't crash. It won't break. So what was happening is all that water volume was coming in, but all that water volume has to go somewhere. So even though all the water's coming in, it's all going to go out through the same spot, which is going to be the rips, because that's the easiest way for the water to go back out to the deeper parts of whatever body of water you're in. So they were moving, and by the time we got to them, because there's a couple pictures somewhere, I tried to find them, but you can barely see us. All you can see is like our little cans behind us, the little like red dots, and you can barely see our heads. But by the time we got to them, we're probably about 450, close to 500 yards offshore.
Jesus.
And that, I think, going back to Ethan's comment, that was like a huge moment. I realized I had to change up everything, and I need to be way less selfish trying to train just for whatever I feel like doing. Because when I got to my initial victim, I was probably about 30 feet away from him. And a lot of people don't have the understanding of like just straight up survival or like turning it on, so to speak. So most people, like statistically, can tread water for 30 minutes. Doesn't matter their physique, doesn't matter their shape. Most people can tread water for 30 minutes. When people panic, it goes down to 2 minutes, which is why our timeline is from the moment someone starts to actively drown or go into stress, we have on average 2 minutes before they're submerging, and now we're locating a lost swimmer in the water instead of at the surface. So probably about 30 feet away from them. And again, like 4.5, 5 foot rollers, pretty decent. I get about 30 feet from them, and I think just making eye contact with me, they saw me, and they had a sense of relief to like let go, like, oh, I'm good. And they immediately shot it down. I was like, oh, God damn it. So I swam hard and got to them probably about 10 feet below the surface, picked them back up, and they're unconscious now. I'm like, oh, cool. I look about 50 yards away. I got another buddy with a rescue board, another buddy with his cannon fins. And we're like, well, we got 3 people, and one of them is still conscious. And they asked him, like, hey, how many people are there? And they're like, there's 4 of us. And we're like, 1, 2, 3, shit. So ended up swimming them all the way back. And I actually ended up getting caught in a rip by myself. That was so bad. The guard tossed me his rescue can and like reel me in like a fish through the rip.
Jesus.
I'd have to breath up, dive down, kicking the whole time with my fins on, and like claw my way on the bottom. But I ended up getting pneumonia from that because I had a little bit of saltwater inhalation. But
Wow.
but yeah, that was the moment, I think, or the first moment at least, where I realized like, hey, if I'm gonna have some kind of position where like I am my own tool, like I probably need to get a little bit sharper. Like I probably need to be way more trained up for this.
That's bars, by the way. I am my own tool.
That's sick.
That's lyrics right there.
Modern Kanye.
Oh, please don't. Hey, it's
a great
Hallelujah
beat.
now. Y'all heard that?
It's what?
Hallelujah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they changed it.
Hey,
Well, we need to switch topics immediately.
no.
Please,
What's
please.
that effect where you misremember something? Everyone does it.
No. Wait.
Oh, shoot. The Berenstein thing. I know what you're talking about.
Mandela
effect.
It's the Mandela effect. It was always hallelujah. All my people got me. Hallelujah. And that was perfectly YouTube safe.
Dude, I want to hear about a big city job story from the man with the mustache himself.
Well, as Taylor's microphone dies, Knight, tell us a
that had
story.
to be night, right?
Oh yeah. You guys want me to take you to Jobtown? I'll take you to Jobtown,
It did, yeah.
son. I'll give you a quick one.
Take us
first.
to Jobtown.
We're going to fucking Jobtown, boys. I'll give you the kind of funny one first. That's not very long. This was a number of years ago. This was probably 5 years ago, right before my current junior private came on, and it was November, probably 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. House fire comes out in our first due. It was like right on the line between us and another company, and I think we were second in. No, I'm sorry, we were first in, because what happened is it was a 2-story house. They had lit a fire in the chimney and went to bed. Well, they didn't realize it was out. What they didn't realize is these people had not maintained their chimney properly. So what happened is embers went up the chute through the chimney and got through the cracks into the attic.
Sick.
And it caught the attic on this huge 2-story house on fire. So by the time we show up, the roof, the attic, and part of the second floor is on fire. Well, we pull up, and it's completely dark. My old driver at the time is working on getting some water. I pull an 1 3/4 hose off. One of the homeowners or one of the neighbors, I don't remember who, they say, it's around back. There's stairs back there. So I take off through the side yard, expecting there to be stairs from the back porch up the side of the building to get back there. And I can see flames back there. Well, I get back there with my hose. There's no stairs. And there's just flames eating up this roof. So, and I'm by myself. Nobody followed me. I found out later my captain was doing a 360.
Stop using words that I don't understand.
Yeah.
So an 1 3/4 hose is going to be a hose with a diameter of 1 3/4. That's going to be our standard hose length that we're going to use for like our bread and butter houses with a adjustable fog nozzle. So you can do like a wide stream or a straight stream. You like my hand motions there? Really?
Not particularly.
It's like a grabber from Alien, but proceed.
So my driver comes back around. He goes, because they all call me Junior because they know a bunch of the people in my family. He goes, Junior, get to the front door. I'm like, oh shit. So I dragged this fully charged hose line by myself back to the front door, and I drop it because my captain's there. He's like, Junior, get that 2.5. And for those of you that don't know anything about firefighting, a 2.5 hose is a 2.5-inch diameter hose, usually with a smooth bore on
Fucking
it.
heavy.
It is a huge hose. I think what is it, Taylor? It's like every 10 feet is like 250 pounds or something like that.
I think every 2.5 is 250, and then every foot of LDH 5-inch is 100.
Y'all lose me so fast.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, this is what it's like when I talk about video stuff with other people.
Yeah, I don't know anything about anything.
Basically, if you're hauling a 2.5-inch hose line, imagine dragging about 400 pounds behind you, and then the second you open it, it's like somebody is trying to knock you down with about 200 psi. Usually we don't pump it that high, but the volume of water coming out is just so high. It's trying to knock you backwards. And so we go up through the front door, up the stairs, and we make it to the second floor landing. And I go left back to the master bedroom. We get back there. The ceiling is falling down around us on fire. And somebody had brought an attic ladder up there, which is like this tiny little ladder, probably about this wide, and it folds up like this, so you can jam it into tight spaces. Well, somebody unfolds that attic ladder and shoves it in a space, probably about like that, like probably a foot by a foot. I start climbing up the ladder to get to the attic with this 2.5, and my captain, he goes, "Get up there, Junior," and he puts his hand on my ass. And whoa! And uses my head as a battering ram.
Oh my god!
To shove through the drywall, to shove it through the drywall ceiling and open up a hole, and it's just flames everywhere around me. And I scream. I don't know what I said, but I remember going, ah! And I just started spraying water. Well, normally in a situation like that, you're trying to spray the water up onto like the roof to let it bank down and rain down around you. And it wasn't doing anything. Like nothing was happening. It was only getting worse. And my helmet, the leather shield, which I don't know if you guys have seen, on popular media, you know how it's got the leather piece that has like your number on it?
Yeah.
My helmet is melting around me.
Oh my God.
And so I remember
That's
I'm like,
insane.
I've got a hose like this, trying to fight this 2.5 without falling 10 feet off this ladder. And I remember looking up and just seeing stars. And I'm like, oh, there's no ceiling. That's why nothing's getting better. So then I was able to kind of inch the hose up a little bit more and, fight straight instead of up like that. And then it finally started to improve until eventually it knocked me off the ladder onto my back and I ended up hurting my shoulder. And then my captain climbed up the ladder while I was backing him up. And it was just, that was like I think that was the first fire I had that was like real spooky. I was like, ooh, that kind of.
That's awesome.
Knight like really brushes like life or death situations off as nonchalant things. Like at the last shooting session we had, he was like, man, I had a crazy one today. We almost died. The roof collapsed on me and this new guy, and it just collapsed on us. We almost died. And I was just like, what? He was just like, yeah, almost killed us. I was like, you almost died. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to go cut this grass. I'm like, okay. But I want to reference chat here for a second. We have a lot of really good questions. First and foremost, just real quick, what's your favorite song? I am a Sleep Token slut, and my favorite song right now, we're just going to go around and just hit it really quick. Mine is Sleep Token, Missing Limbs. It's going to be in my wedding, which all of you are going to be my groomsmen for. And a couple people that are actually in the chat will be my groomsmen as well.
Is this an open carry wedding?
I'm actually, when it's like, does anyone object to our wedding? Or speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to open up my vest and I'm going to have a fucking 1911 right there. And you guys are going to do the same. But mine is Sleep Token, Missing Limbs. Masterpiece of a song. Night.
Layla by Eric Clapton.
Banger.
Or no, you know what? I'll stick with that one.
Currently, I don't know if I'd say favorite song, but the one I just literally can't get out of my head is "Love Lost" by Mac Miller. It's
You're on the Mac Miller train right now. I am so happy. We're gonna rave about him soon. But go ahead.
It is a vibe. But my favorite artist is a guy named Jack Garrett. He's British. He makes dope music. It's, I guess, technically alternative rock, but it's kind of everything. But he's my all-time favorite.
That Love Lost Mac Miller Temper Trap combo. Oh.
Yes. So I haven't had any that work in a long time, but whenever I use hearing protection that's Bluetooth, I have a range day playlist that I play. And dude, there's a lot of Mac Miller on it. And I just hit that point where I'm in like flow state and I'm just grooving and I'm going from target to target. It's the best.
Honorable mention, close second. It's going to be Streets of Whiterun.
Ooh,
dude! Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, if I could ever convince my future wife to let that be her idol song, I absolutely will. But, dude, favorite song? Harrison will know the reason why, but probably "Where We Belong" by yeah.
By who?
Passion Pit.
Ooh, okay.
You just, I think it's because there's songs you hear and you're like, damn, that's good. But then there's songs that like you experience in a moment in time and they like get stuck to that.
Yep.
And that's definitely one of them. So.
Okay, we got a video question.
Yes,
so
Harrison, go ahead.
Who does the editing for your videos and how long does it usually take? It's me. So my career is I'm a professional filmmaker. So actually, hold on, I got a prop.
While he's getting his prop, just so you people understand, Harrison is the mastermind behind all of this. He does all the filming. Well, he lets some of us film while he's shooting, but he does all the filming, all the editing. He posts everything. He is an absolute god when it comes to these things, so he deserves all the credit.
So this is one of my we shoot a lot with this. It's just it's a red. I've got a butt ton of lenses and a lot of cameras, but we tend to shoot mostly on Canon and red. There have been some low light stuff we did. We did a night vision video where we shot some with an A7S III because it's good in the dark, but also we use a Canon C400 sometimes. That's actually better in the dark than the Sonys. So we shoot with a lot. I do the editing. And how long does it take? That really depends. If I'm really, really excited about a video, as soon as I get home, I just kind of like lose track of time and like 8 hours go by and it's just done and ready to post. The longest edit for this channel was the hunting video we did. I think I was working on that for about a month.
So good.
And that's because we filmed that over the course of all of deer season. So we had like 4 different weekends that we all went hunting. It was like 5 terabytes of footage. And it just took a really, really long time to edit because we had interviews, we had B-roll, like we filmed every single thing we did. And I think that's my favorite video we've done. But yeah, it depends. I'd say most of the time I can crank out an edit in about 8 to 12 hours. But the hunting one was a big one.
Once again, to just glaze Harrison a little more, you guys, none of the 3 of us could do what he does and still maintain a life.
Oh, no.
So just absolute props to Harrison for that. He's very good at what he does. He also got us our first sponsor, Gun Prime. Thank you again. Shout out Gun Prime.
Shout out Gun Prime.
I'll drink to that one. So he deserves all the credit for this. None of this is possible without him. I am the talent and I am the most handsome shooter that we have. But as far as videoing goes, Harrison takes the game.
I saw our channel get described. It's been described a couple different ways, but the funniest one was this is like if there were 4 Charlies from Grand Thumb, but none of them knew how to shoot. And that one made me laugh a lot. I liked that comment.
There was
I
another
like that one.
It was like
Redneck Dirty Kid.
Yeah, no, corn fried dirty kid.
It's like
Corn
Dirty
fried.
Kid without the marksmanship.
Something like that.
We
Yeah.
all suck at shooting. And then one more, just to answer Kelly, who has a lot of great questions here. As far as watches go, this is my Apple Watch. I use it because I work out a lot, and it tracks my, my health and stuff through my iPhone. But I use Timex because UFC uses them. I'm really a sucker for anything that's advertised through people that I love. I don't know what you guys use if it's not an Apple Watch, but also the Whoop watches. They're not really watches, but they if you want to get in shape and learn some stuff about yourself that you don't know, use a Whoop watch. Other than that, Timex or an Apple Watch is the way to go.
I'm not a watch guy. I used to have a Whoop for fitness tracking, but I wore it for a year. And at first, I loved all the information it told me. But after a year, I kind of just realized what it was telling me is that sleep is good, working out is good, and drinking is bad. And so then I was like, I don't want to keep paying for this.
It's like, hey, man, you didn't get 8 hours. Don't work out. I'm like, don't tell me what to do, you Chinese product.
Kelly also asked what we use for communication in like low cell service areas. We might have very different answers for this. For me in my line of the work, I use Starlink. I travel a lot out west, and it's actually really, really typical for me that I don't have any cell service, and I have to upload footage, communicate with people, do stuff like that. So I use Starlink. It's not as quick or efficient, obviously, as just like whipping out a radio. We use walkies if we have a team, but nothing like cool. And Starlink works really, really well, but you have to have like a home base for it. So we have it mounted to vehicles or campers or things like that. But if it's just like you by yourself, you're probably not going to want to run Starlink. Knight, you probably have a better answer for that.
For USAR stuff, which is Urban Search and Rescue, we use Harris radios for all of our team stuff. I think the important thing for Kelly to know is that as a team, as a Basecamp team, we have not started training cohesively with communications yet with alternate forms of communication. So the plan is eventually, once everybody is fully kitted out, we will have some semblance of cohesion with radio comms. But it's just one of those things it's low on the list at the moment.
Yeah,
Which I would love for us to have that. I would love for us to get some internal comms, because when you have everyone on the same page using the same terminology, like I don't know what y'all use in y'all's department, but we just use Clear Talk.
Yeah, we use plain speech.
Yeah, there's no 10 codes other than like 10-4. But when everyone's on the same page, you get so much information so fast, and everyone knows what's happening. Like there's not any issue of discretion. Like everyone knows what's going on, and it happens every day. Like I mean, we had a code 2 weeks ago, and everyone knew what was going on because everyone was on the same page. Even though we had a couple of little terms here and there, we all knew. So I would love for us to get some internal comms.
Taylor, dog, you keep getting darker and darker.
yeah, right.
They're losing me, man. They're
You
losing
know
me.
you could take. Are you on a desk right now?
Yeah.
That lamp that's behind you, you could pick it up, take it to your desk, and plug it in.
I'm telling
You
you,
know what?
shine your iPhone light on your face. Turn it face down.
I think I'll do that. But first, I need to go refill because we cheersed and I didn't have anything, and I felt embarrassed. So
Well, so while we're doing that, let's move on a little bit. I think we wanted to take a look at the new Sig Sauer products.
Can I start? I actually wrote something right quick. I hate to read a script. but
Well,
I-
yeah. Do you want to? I was going to share my screen. Do you want to talk before I do that?
Yeah, just really quick. I am probably the Sig fanboy out of the group. I love Sig Sauer products. I always have, from like the Sig 552, the Sig 516, the P226, just a lot of the old school Sig products. So naturally, I got like the MCXs. I run the P320, but let's talk about the P320 for a second. I am so annoyed. Anyone that's seen Sig's new line that they dropped just a couple of days ago, that they've been hinting at for a few days. Of course, they dropped, I think it was 2 or maybe even 3 new P320s.
And there's already 100.
Yeah, the oversaturation of P320 variants from Sig has become ridiculous. It started as a modular platform that kind of spiraled into an overwhelming flood of models. You know, you have the X Series, the XG, the Spectre, the Legion, the VTEC. I can do this all fucking day. There's countless exclusives, like the one that they did for the Marines, which was super dope. But I think they made like 50 of them, and they ran like $8,000 fucking dollars. It's less innovative now, and also there's marginal differences between one or the other. Obviously, when Legion gets a hold of it, it's going to be a quality product. But the VTEC versus the Spectre versus the X Series, like, they are marginal differences. Like, some of them come down to a different mag release. You know, whether they're comped or uncomped. It's ridiculous. It's less innovation now and more of a marketing ploy. It's leaving people like me, who are Sig fanboys, I'm starting to questioning them. Is it like what's the identity of this pistol now, right?
Well, they don't care. It's just to get money.
Yeah. Instead of just releasing a few great models of the P320, they're focusing on flooding the market with every possible permutation of a P320, chasing trends rather than making a pistol that the consumer is asking for. Like, for example, I know people are going to bring it up. Like, just make it, if I drop it, it doesn't fucking shoot. That's the biggest problem. We're all talking about it.
And it's not even the drop, because the drop was a separate issue, because the stuff that's been going on recently has been firing from holsters predominantly.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
there's just indies all over the place. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that conversation is a little bit played out. So do you want to just roast some of their new stuff?
Okay. So I like I said, I love competition shooting. Max Michel is one of my favorite shooters. He's the team captain at Sig, and he dropped the Max Michel pistol like probably 8 or 9 years ago. And it's a quality pistol. It doesn't have a lot of differences from the X5 Legion, though. It just has his branding on it. And now they have the audacity to drop the Max Michel 2.0, the Mod 2, whatever it's called. Like, what difference is it? Apparently, the trigger's a little thinner. It might be a little lighter. I doubt it, though. and it might have a different cutout for your RMR platform. But it is so similar to the original Maximus shell that it doesn't justify dropping a new one. And then they're dropping a new show me the newest P320 like collector item. It's the one with that beautiful finish. It does
right here.
have a beautiful finish. It says it right there. The collection P320. This right here, I don't know what the price tag on is it. I guess it's close to $5,000. That's an AXG Legion. I don't care what they say. They put a Cerakote on it. They're probably going to charge $3,000 extra for it, and it's not worth it. Like
No, and
it's a beautiful handgun.
I am shocked when I saw the promo for this the next stuff. I was convinced it was a PR move because of all of the P320 stuff that's been going on. That they were actually going to innovate and bring things to the market that are new. And to be fair, there are two, I'm going to say technically three, not really, but two things that I'm going to call new. But this entirety of the event is essentially just new P320s. And I don't know if they just don't know how to read the room. But the only three things on here that I care about a little bit are the 2011, which
we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, which is priced absurdly high.
$2,300 to start, ladies and gentlemen. $2,300.
The Flux is cool. Everyone likes the Flux, but they essentially just took a pre-existing product and put their branding on it. And then the 516 Mohawk, which
I'm happy with that.
I've seen people really divided about this. I would love to shoot one, obviously.
Tell me what you think the difference will be from the 516 Mohawk to the Spear LT. Tell me, like, what do you think?
So one of the things we complained about in our MCX video, or at least that I said, is I wish they incorporated a side charging handle, and they did. I like that being an option. I kind of think it looks a little ugly.
It doesn't look as good as I wish it did. Proceed.
Yeah, they named it the Mohawk literally because this goes up like an extra half inch. It just looks weird. I am really, really curious if this would work on our MCX lowers. Very, very curious, and I think it should.
I think it would, but the military Spears have a side charging handle for the 7.62 and the whatever military cartridge variant it is. So all we have is a higher axis for our optics, which I don't necessarily love, and I don't know what the price is on this either. But I'm gonna guess it's close to $3,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess because the Spears when they come out, or the Spear LTs, have typically been 23, 25. And yeah, I would put this right around $3,000. And if our experience owning all these SIG rifles is anything to go off of, it's going to be a rifle that is bulletproof in terms of, like, the barrel's going to be great. The barrel's going to be rated for like 20,000 rounds. But for how much, it always just comes down to, for how much you're spending on it, it should be better.
Amen to that. So move over to the 365 Flux right quick.
Can I also comment? I have a deep disdain. I don't know if this is just a personal thing, but if you're talking about a platform one of the benefits of the platform is high modularity, putting proprietary handguards is so fucking stupid.
I agree. So I agree with you on principle. Not even on principle. I just agree. I like the look of the MCX handguards. I'm
not saying it looks bad.
Yeah.
I think that on principle, it's a bad business decision.
The SIG Virtus handguard, a lot of people will buy a Spear and stick the Virtus handguard because it will receive a suppressor inside of it. So I'm a bit of a fanboy, like I said, especially about the Virtus. But I can absolutely I sort of detest how proprietary a lot of these parts are, especially in the world of the AR-15, and then they're sort of pricing themselves out of the market, and they're not getting a superior product as far as reliability because Daniel Defense exists. Like you have high quality products that exist in the same realm of reliability, but like for close to $1,000 cheaper. And Sig is just so proud of themselves.
Yeah.
So as far as this flux goes, I don't know how we all feel about flux systems or systems that turn a handgun into sort of a shoulder weapon. I'm a
I
fan.
think it's cool. I just couldn't ever see myself buying one if I'm already going to be concealing a
Yes.
handgun on my body.
Exactly. So the 320 flux exists. I believe there's another product outside of Sig that has a flux system inside of it. I believe there's actually several. I think the FN has a flux, the M&P has a flux. The 365 was designed to be the most concealable handgun, and it achieves that. I carry a 365X macro. Why are we making a flux system out of a concealed carry handgun? Are you going to conceal that product?
Well, so I will say I've seen a lot of stuff where this 365 Flux, not this one, but the one that's already been on the market from Flux themselves, people actually have made holsters for it. And when you deploy it, like you actually can conceal it. And when you deploy it, that brace or stock, whatever you go with, swings out. And there are people who can deploy that thing and shoot in about a second. So
Right. And
I
I'm not.
understand
Go ahead.
the use case. It just feels a bit impractical because I think most people
Yes.
who are buying this, it would be like backpack gun or truck gun. And if you're going to do that, AR, like just get it.
Exactly. Take an AR, take a shotgun, take a rifle of some variant. So yes, you might be able to conceal this, but why would you pick this over just the 365 or the 365 XL or the 365X macro or the 365 fuse? While I'm sitting here regurgitating all these 365 variants, it's kind of starting to sound like the 320. Why do we have all these variants, man? And we're going to put it into a flux, which you may be able to conceal. But why would you choose that? Yes, you can shoulder it, but like that's got to be cumbersome carrying around all day, man.
Yeah.
I'm truthfully not a huge fan of the 365 Flux. I do love the Flux products as a whole, though. So let's talk about the P211. I remember talking in the group chat. I was so high on this gun. I love 2011s. I love a 1911 platform. That is my favorite platform. It feels the best in my hands.
He was so joyful for about 5 minutes.
Yes, and then I finished watching the product advertisement, and this gun goes for $2,300 MSRP. That is $2,300. It takes P320 mags, which is cool, and they managed to stick 23 rounds in that extended mag, which I also think is cool. I'm going to give them some praise. Sig Sauer does magazines better than anyone else. I have to give them credit where it's due. But to move on to some criticisms, 2011s are not drop safe. They're not. Most 2011s, even the $3,000 ones,
So they're claiming that this one is.
they claim the 320s drop safe. So what are we
Fair.
talking about? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's to be fair, it's in the same price range as a Staccato. But
Yes.
I really think there's going to be a market correction for 2011s, or at least I hope there would be, because the market's getting flooded with them because it's essentially people are realizing, hey, we make 1911s, we can just slap a 2 in front of it and jack the price up. Obviously,
Yes.
I would love one. I love a 2011. And my dream handgun's actually, it's the Sig 226 Legion X5, whatever. So that's
We're
not,
going to get to that.
yeah, it's not a 2011 at all. But if I were to spend that money, it would be the fully decked out 226. But then at the same time, it's like, if you're going to spend that much money, buy a rifle.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're a competition shooter, you want a race gun, the P211 is in the price range for that. But they're sort of advertising it as this everyday gun that everyone should own, which maybe that's just a marketing ploy. But we're talking over $2,000. And I just want to gripe about this compensator for 1 second. I love a compensator on a gun. I do love compensators. And Sig has created this expansion chamber through the P26 AHG Legion and the 320 AHG Legion. And I believe P365 also has one. But they've done away with it for this new P211, which sort of, like, they say it's new, but it absolutely rivals the P320 Spectre, and like they're advertising it as new, but that is said, done, and moved on, and we're somehow regressing towards it, and we're charging $400 to $500 more for it. You guys may not be aware of that, but as a Sig fanboy, I've done my research. I am sort of disappointed. Like it's they say it's almost close to a pin and weld as far as like how they're mounting it onto the barrel, and it's also interchangeable with a block if you're not allowed to run compensators in race gun competitions. But it's a compensator that fits into the slide, which is cool. But I honestly feel like that's adding towards the price. And I would have rather seen it without a compensator before I wanted to pay $2,300 for it. What do you guys think?
I agree. It's never something that I would have bought. If I were in the market for a handgun in that price range, which I'm not, it would be a 226. But if it was going to be a 2011, I would probably go with like the Platypus, or there's millions of other options. Of haha, it's a joke. Better bang for buck.
What's the Platypus run for? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, so you can build them out. So it depends.
And for those of you that don't know, the Platypus takes Glock mags, which is because you can get a P mag for a Glock for like $15 or $20.
Base price is $1,400.
$1,400, guys. That's $1,000 off almost. Can you believe that?
But the thing about the Platypus is you can literally customize every single thing on the gun, including the color of various different parts on it. Like, it is you could build a Platypus that no one else in the entire world would ever have, ever. And the price might jump up if you spec it out all the way to $1,800. But again, I mean, you can change the type of grip on here.
Well, to be fair, I want to give Sig some credit. The P211 also runs interchangeable grips that they've already worked with other companies to interchange. But like, what are we talking about here? Like, probably an additional $100, $200. So now we're looking at a $2,500 gun.
Yeah.
Just to make it to where it feels good for yourself. I'm saying guns over $2,000. It needs to feel superb in your hands.
Yeah.
Out of the box.
You had me pull up the Glock page. Did you want to talk about Glock?
Yeah, while we're talking about the oversaturation of products that are so similar.
Look how ridiculous this is.
So I am sort of a Glock hater, not because I think their products are bad, but because what I've been griping about, I think the oversaturation, I run a Glock 17, but then they have a Glock 17 Gen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they have the Gen 17 long, or the Glock 17 long rather, which is literally a Glock 34. You can't convince me otherwise. My first concealed carry was a Glock 34. I'm very familiar. It was a 6-round single stack handgun. I really enjoyed it. Knight runs the Glock 43X. Knight, say something about that gun.
So the 43X is, I feel like the 43X really came onto the scene and kind of made waves in like a weird way. And it was sort of like I feel like, at least from what I saw in the popular media, the 43X really started this wave of people recognizing, oh, Glock is essentially pre-building a bunch of pre-spec guns for people who are too dumb or who are too lazy, like myself, to want to figure out how to change slides and run different slides on different frames. I 100% believe that from a marketing standpoint, that is the reason why they have created this huge catalog of all of these different guns, which are essentially just a ton of different compatible parts. They just already put it together for you and given it a name. And I think that's kind of where that comes from. And I love the 43X. It's a 10+1, and if you run the shield mags in it, you can run it as 15+1 or 20+1. And yeah, I mean, I've been running a Glock 43X with 21 rounds compatible. That's crazy. It's dumb. Like, I don't think that that's necessary, but I do it. But that's kind of where my brain has gone. And I feel like Sig is kind of taken. Somebody in chat, it might have been Squid, said that Sig is taking a playbook or taking a note from Glock's playbook of
Absolutely.
they've seen that it worked for Glock. Make all of these pre-built guns that are essentially just all of these different parts that already exist, that already work with other parts, and just give it a name so that people don't have to say, oh, well, if I buy this slide, I can put it on this frame, and then I can change this trigger from this gun. Instead, you can just say, oh, I'll just buy this one. It's exactly what I want.
Yeah. And so we had a couple of questions. One from Hunter, would you run a 2011 gun over a striker? If I was in a competition, sure.
Yes.
Sure. As far as carrying every day, absolutely not.
To add to that, and you can proceed. The 2011 guns are competition guns. That's what they were designed for. They are not drop safe. They are historically unreliable when they're put through torture testing, whether it's dirt, grime, ice, snow. But when the conditions are met properly and you have it tuned properly, they are faster. They shoot faster. They are good guns for competition, and I think we should just leave it at that. Harrison, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a difficult time justifying purchasing a firearm that I'm not going to use for everything. And so like the Glock video I made recently, it's like the point of that video was not you need to buy a Glock. The point of that video was, hey, just get something that's reliable, fits your budget, and you can train on. And then the most important thing for me that goes back to like, would I carry a 2011 versus a Glock? If I ever had to use my handgun in self-defense, it's going to be confiscated in police evidence.
I thought you were going to say compensated.
No, but like potentially forever. And there are some companies, Knight, you just got a Shadow Systems. I don't know if you knew this. Shadow Systems has a policy where if your gun gets taken for police evidence, they will send you an identical one for free.
That's awesome.
It is incredible.
They do that specifically because the Shadow Systems can be rated as a duty pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
But that to go over that, I'm like, why? Like, I'll spend a lot of money on a rifle. Handgun, I want it to be reliable. I don't even necessarily like Glocks. I just found that I shoot them really well, and they're relatively cheap. Obviously they've jacked their prices up from what it used to be. And like the Ruger, I've dry fired in RXM and I loved it. But I wanted the 19X because it had a larger grip. And so it's like, is the point of that video you need to go buy a Glock? No, it's not. It's just like, you don't need to spend $2,600 on a handgun. And if it's your first one, you absolutely should not do that.
Hey, man. And just, I'm going to answer a couple quick things in chat right quick. My boy Unleaded Blood said a GP100. I love you for that. I am a revolver fanboy. I actually carried a revolver for some amount of time. It was a Ruger Red Hawk and 357 Magnum. So I'm right there with you with the GP100. But to transition onto Glocks, they're affordable. They are reliable. They shoot. The recoil impulse is better. So that is why we're sort of advocating for them over certain other brands. Like if we were talking about the Walther PDP, like what does that go for now? $1,000, and you can get a brand new 19 for what is it now, Harrison? $450, $500?
I bought the 19X, so the 19X usually retails for probably $600, $650, especially because mine had the threaded barrel. It was MOS, all that. But this is not an ad. I got it at Gun Prime. I swear on my life, I'm saying the facts. And yeah, so they're close to me. So I just drove over, talked to the guys, and yeah.
And Squid is talking about the PSA dagger.
Yeah,
why that? Go ahead, Harrison.
I disagree with that. I maybe a training gun, sure. But actually, you know what? I'm going to shut up. Dalton, you own a dagger. Go.
I have a dagger, and it is a Gen 3 Glock. I have the Dagger Compact, which is a Glock 19 Gen 3 essentially. I have had such critical reliability issues with that gun, and I know that other people haven't. But that is a testament to the reliability and consistency of the build. Some people have no issues with it at all. I have jams with my dagger every 7 rounds. You guys have all seen it. You guys can all attest to that. Sometimes it runs flawlessly. Sometimes it jams every 2 rounds. So I just cannot recommend that for a carry gun. Now, if you want to try to build it out and change some parts for a competition gun, absolutely. Maybe I couldn't even recommend for a duty gun. It is affordable. It looks a lot better than the standard Glocks, in my opinion. It comes with all the things that I would do to it, but it has somehow a worse trigger. I hate Glock triggers and I hate their sights. It fixed the sights problem and it added the problem to the trigger. It is the worst trigger, close to like the lower end Smith and Wesson triggers. I cannot recommend the dagger for life and death situations. I know you guys have seen it. You guys can attest to that. PSA makes quality products, especially with their ARs. I haven't had any problems with my AR. I don't think Knight has either. But
all of the problems that I've had with my AR are my fault for not properly cleaning and lubing my guns.
And there are going to be people out there that strongly disagree with that, but I think it comes down to, I like Palmetto as a company for their idea of just like, hey, we're going to sell stuff for as cheap as possible. But I think it's known industry wide that they have quality control issues.
Ethan says it perfectly. They are a coin flip because a buddy of mine, he runs the PSA Compact, which is like, it's compensated. I don't know exactly which dagger it is, but it has the compensator, which like replicas the Sig expansion chamber. He has never had an issue. And I've shot it as well, no issues. But God, that trigger sucks. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I think Knight, were you going to talk about your PSA AR?
I was just going to say that everybody kind of knows that PSA just has a high propensity for lemons.
Yeah.
Which is why I can attest to if all the products aren't close to being the same, then there's a production issue to some degree. Now, they're affordable, they're cheap, but it is a pot metal gun at the end of the day. And I do love PSA for their affordability. I have like 3, 4, 5 PSA guns to attest to that. But like if shit pops off and I need to have a reliable handgun or a reliable rifle, I am not grabbing my PSA handgun. I might grab the rifle, but I am not grabbing a handgun. Go ahead. Sorry, Knight.
Knight, I'm going to pull up the Shadow System stuff.
Yeah. So
and then let's do
there
that.
Was a question about your Shadow Systems, Knight. Which product did you get specifically?
So I think we were going to talk about our current new builds and new guns that we're working on, and maybe some stuff specifically that we're working on. Kit that we're working on for Proving Grounds, I think was the next section we were going to go to.
Yeah, let's talk about just kit and builds that we're doing, and then we can start to wrap this thing up.
So since we're on the topic, and we'll on the topic of pistols, we'll go straight into it. So I purchased. It was a toss-up. Harrison had really played up the M&P 2.0 comp for me, and I put that and the DR 920 compensated next to each other. Like I sent the boys in the group chat a photo of both guns laying next to each other.
I was pushing for him to get the M&P so bad,
and I actually have gotten to the point after running 200 rounds through the Shadow Systems that I actually might trade in my 43X for the M&P comp.
Really?
Now here's the caveat, because I went with the DR 920p, which is essentially a I think it's actually a Glock 17 clone, but it fits G43 holsters. And so it's Shadow Systems integrated compensator. The nice thing about that is for any of you that have that live in states with threaded barrel laws, it is not a threaded barrel, so you can bypass a lot of those issues. What it came down to me was hand feel. I went with the
Not mouthfeel.
Not yet. Not yet. I didn't taste test this one. So the DR920 felt super, super comfortable in my hand. The trigger felt perfectly fine. It was basically just a Glock trigger. I had no problems with it. The huge thing for me came down to hand feel, because when I picked up the DR920P and when I picked up the M&P 2.0 comp, what I noticed, the biggest issue that I had was the mag release. The mag release, the trigger on the M&P comp was gorgeous. It was phenomenal. The trigger alone made me want to buy that gun. However, that gun was purchased by my lovely fiance as my birthday present.
Nice.
It was a couple $100 more expensive, which is not a huge issue. Like, she was fine with it. She was like, get whatever you want. But when I put the DR920 in my hand and I put the M&P comp in my hand, I noticed the two biggest things was the M&P, even though it was shorter, was noticeably heavier. And the grip texturing was very aggressive, which is not that really big of a deal, since this is more of a competition gun for the Proving Grounds. But it was enough that I noticed it, like, kind of what Harrison was talking about in the Get an AR and a Glock video about, tearing up his shirts. But the mag release on the M&P comp was awful. It's super smooth action, but the release itself was smaller than the nail of my pinky finger.
Oh my gosh.
It was it was by far the smallest mag release and the most difficult to manipulate that I have ever put my hands on any handgun. The shadow systems, while the mag release was not quite as snappy and smooth, it was basically a Glock, because it comes with P mags. It doesn't come with Glock mags. So, but so it doesn't, the mag doesn't shoot out super nice. It doesn't look all cool. But even though it's longer, it was noticeably lighter. It felt better in the hand, and the mag release was so familiar because it was basically Glock. It was very easy to manipulate. The gun just felt overall better in my hand. They had a compensated CR920, whatever the Glock 19 clone is.
Yeah, you nailed it.
I have to say, I don't really like the Gucci look, with the bronze or gold barrel and the slide serrations. It kind of looked dumb. It looked like it was trying too hard to be a Gucci gun, and it felt less comfortable in my hand than just a regular Glock 19. So that's why I went with the DR920. Now, to speak on the first 200 rounds that I put through that gun, oh my God, just with irons shooting at 7 and then 15 yards, probably some of the best shooting that I've had on a pistol in probably 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, you're jumping from a subcompact to a full-size compensated gun.
Can you just real quick? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Can you speak on those triggers really quick on the shadow systems versus a Glock, since you have both?
I think, because I know after Harrison put hands on the shadow systems, he liked the shadow systems trigger less than a regular Glock.
That's what made me go with, and I haven't bought it, but that's what made me favor the M&P metal frame carry comp more.
Whoa. M&P, I'm talking Glock shadow systems. Tell me about what you didn't like about
the shadow systems. The DR920C or P that I tried, the trigger I did not like, and this was before I had my 19X. It felt worse than my FN509, which that is a flat-faced trigger. I just wasn't a fan of it. I had hyped up that shadow system so much in my head, and I had the opposite experience. I went and put hands on it, and I just thought, oh, this is just a Glock trigger. And then I went and bought it.
So I honestly felt the same way, and the price tag on the shadow systems is fairly higher than you'll see from the Glock counterparts. And I personally think the Shadow System triggers are better, and I detest Glock triggers. But like for the price difference, I don't see how the triggers are that similar. Just the mush and to be more specific, the reset on a Shadow System trigger didn't impress me enough for the price range. Knight, how did you feel about that?
I think that it is more noticeable for you guys because you don't regularly shoot Glock.
I do now.
Probably. I don't.
I think if you put the Shadow Systems up against a Sig P320 or an FN 509, or then you really notice it. But if you're going from a 43X or even a 19X and the Shadow Systems next to each other, I think for probably 80% of shooters, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And almost most people are never going to outrun that trigger. Yes, it is spongy. It is noticeable. However, I feel like the full size frame of that gun and the overall feel helps to overcome that spongy trigger.
Yeah.
So you made a great point right here. You said outrun the trigger. That seems to be a huge like sort of faux pas amongst like gun tubers. We see people like Rantham or administrative results talk about like triggers, and then we sort of adopt that and regurgitate it. But I personally believe wholeheartedly that these guns will outshoot us all, especially with triggers like that.
Yeah.
And just because like even like a standard Glock 17 trigger, even though I hate it, I detest standard Glock triggers, it's not necessarily slowing me down as much as I am letting it hinder me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're noticing it and you're going, eh.
Because-
And there's a mental blockage.
Because I run like a modified trigger on my Glock. It is a lone wolf trigger. Those of you that might know about them, it's an adjustable trigger. I have a 2-pound trigger pull on my Glock, but I can honestly tell you wholeheartedly that if I ran my Glock in a drill and then I took Harrison's Glock and ran it in the same exact drill, I doubt that trigger would make a difference as far as speed goes. So even these mushy triggers with a lot of take up or with a heavier trigger pull or a poorer reset, I really don't know if it would make a difference in the long run. But you know what makes the biggest difference? I think we can all attest to this. Is training with the guns that we have.
100%.
Agree with me.
Yeah, I agree. Wholeheartedly. Also, most triggers break in.
Yeah.
That Glock 19X trigger, it's going to get better. My FN 509 trigger, 10,000 rounds later, is better than it was at round one. So, yeah. I'm not good enough of a shooter to really, I notice triggers. I'm like, oh, that's nicer than this. Am I good enough for that to really matter? No, I need to work on my technique.
Exactly. So we have a lot of like low to even mid-level shooters. Like all of us are low to mid. Even like a lot of these people that are watching are probably low-level shooters. No offense to you guys, but like we feel these triggers.
Bro, you just roasted our whole chat of
I'm
16 people.
honest. Like we act like they'll make a difference, but if we're not training, even if we have the $2,300 P211 or a Shadow Systems or the STI 2011s, we're still gonna die. Like you guys need to practice. Just real quick, Taylor, you've been kind of quiet for a second. What concealed carry are you running?
Man, I'm just running the Gen 4 Glock 19.
Glock 19.
Yeah.
And
Tell
he
me
is
about
he is a fiend with the iron sights.
Yeah,
Taylor's
Taylor
now the
Irons
yeah.
on the bitch.
Jeremy Irons, we call him.
Jeremy Irons, sorry. Can you talk about why you haven't moved into a red dot? And like you are so good with your iron sights. We all can talk about how you can hit your targets just as good as us, even with our red dots, especially in a concealed carry self-defense situation, like the range from 7 yards, even all the way out to 25 yards. You are incredibly proficient. Let's talk about that for a second. Tell me.
Man, if I'm kind of hesitant to get a red dot for it because part of it is I am not a super like I don't have enough quote unquote disposable income to really play with a lot of different gun builds. So for me, the whole entirety of Basecamp for me is a super great experience because I'm 100% content being like the low man on the totem pole and like just sucking in knowledge and info and constantly getting roasted either by y'all for one thing I do or later on by someone who watches one of our videos. I'm completely fine with that. I think for me, I'm hesitant to throw just like a hollow sun on there because yeah, one, it's fun. It's super aesthetic and it's fun to shoot irons for sure. But like in reality, if that ever happened where I had to actually use concealed carry, like I don't have enough training acquiring a red dot to where I would feel proficient at the same level as I would just being able to
Oh,
and be able
Every
to
time-
get on target. So
you start
would I
making
be
a great
opposed to
point and then
getting
you cut out.
another?
Oh, we just lost you for 1 second.
Would I be opposed? Oh no. What? Okay. Basically, I was saying like I would love to keep the one I have now as is, just raw dog it. But I would also love to get another block, maybe 19X, just something a little different, and then throw a hollow sun on that, just so I can still actually get red dot training in. But I know end of the day, like I'm probably gonna have iron sights on whatever I'm carrying. So
For sure. And there's nothing wrong with that because there's a statistic that comes out talking about a lot of self-defense situations. I don't know the percentage. It's point and shoot. Like literally, you're just taking your gun, drawing it, and pointing and shooting without actually aiming. And I think you actually exceed most of us in that regard.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think we can all attest to that. Like you are probably our best point and shoot, which I know you say you have the least experience, you have the least modified weapon,
I do.
but yet you sit with us when, especially in those situations from 7 to like 15 yards, like you ring those steel targets, man. Like so, how long have you been training with that specific handgun that you're carrying?
Probably for maybe just like a few months before we even started this whole thing, before the first range day back in 23.
So 2 years or so?
Yeah, like actual consistent training. Other than that, it would be like the very occasional range day at the Civi range with my brother, who's a Leo, and even then, I mean, that is
Like,
just, hey,
Leo, like fucking like our horoscope, Leo?
Law enforcement officer.
Oh,
I knew that. Come on.
Which I think that's why one of the reasons why you probably in like very naturally have, I guess, lack of a better term, improved and leveled up with irons is the base level of training and tips that you got is from the fact that you have family that is in law enforcement and they have to qual on irons. So all of the basics of shooting that you've picked up on has come from you have to learn irons. It's you don't get a choice.
yeah.
Let's do this. People are starting to hop off, so we're gonna we'll skip the what are we building. I like these streams. I think we're gonna do these more, so we can save that for later. Especially once we get our monetization turned back on and you guys can give us super chats.
5K subs live stream.
But yeah. But we had Kelly asked about the origin story. This is going to be posted as a full video once it's done, so you can go back and watch it. It'll still be up. So real quick, what do we have in the future? I think we're trying to meet up in the next month to shoot a lot more content. Typically what we do is we'll take 1 weekend out of a month and try and film as many videos as we can. And it's brutal, especially summertime in South Alabama. It is rough, but we love playing the game. So something I've been kicking over is I really want to film a video about FPV drone defense because I have an old kind of broken FPV drone that I don't care if we shoot at. So
Are you serious?
And so
I have a
here's
little bit of a downer on that.
wait, what's your downer?
I believe current FAA rules prevent you from shooting at drones, even if they are your own.
It's light. It's light. It's under the limit to where it doesn't meet the FAA regulations.
Okay.
Look at that. We're bypassing
Yeah.
rules. I love
Ooh,
that.
ooh, ooh,
But
ooh,
all right,
ooh,
so
ooh,
we'll leave that there. But let's everyone go around, and we're not going to do dad advice because someone already took that. But if you have it, it can be a meme or it can be serious. Everyone give big brother advice, and then we're piecing out of here. I'll go last.
Taylor.
all right. So every day before we at work, before we get after it, we have a little morning brief, and at the very end we have quote scripture inspiration to try and get everyone stoked. And usually we let low men on totem pole do that, but sometimes they're dumb, dude. They're fucking dumb. But today, and I heard a quote way back that hit me, and it was in the day of crisis, the fool thinks he will rise to the occasion, but the wise man knows he will fall to his level of training.
Oof. Good.
So
Good shit,
whatever
damn.
whatever it is you do, get after it, because when it's go time, you will not think, you will only do.
Good
Oh,
stuff.
wow. That was oddly profound. Shit. I'll just say, it's just keep your life and your mindset together. So you don't need to be fearless in life. You just need to be brave enough to take your next step, right? Courage isn't loud. It's steady. It moves in a straight line and it happens over time. So you don't have to move left. You don't have to move right. You just need to move forward, achieving a goal. That's all I got.
I also have a quote to piggyback off of Taylor. This is a quote from one of my favorite movies of all time, which is not that good of a movie, but I really, really love it, which is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Amazing.
Oh man,
I love that movie with my whole heart. But it's got this really beautiful quote from one of the side characters, who's essentially a full-time travel and wildlife photographer. And the quote is, I'll give you the paraphrase version, but it's basically, to see the world, things dangerous to come, to see behind walls, draw closer, to find each other, and to feel. That is the purpose of life. And I really, really enjoyed that, because I've really tried to make a conscious I've really tried to make a conscious effort this year. I noticed that after COVID, and even during COVID and after COVID, I had this really bad habit of, I fell out of touch and fell out of love with staying in touch with people. And I have a really huge friend group and a lot of people that I really, really love and love to have in my life. And I've tried to make a conscious effort this year to reach back out to people that I haven't spoken to enough, to communicate, to hang out, even if it's just sending memes back and forth with friends from, that I haven't spoken to or haven't been able to hang out with since COVID, just because of the distance between us or where everybody lives. So if anybody else has experienced that, I highly encourage you to reach out and re-find and reconnect with some people.
Dang, you guys all gave like really deep, insightful advice. I really thought someone was going to go meme with it. Also, real quick, we got a lot. I think we got confirmation from chat that it's still not cool to shoot a drone. So you know what? That video's dead.
Yeah, it seems like it.
There's some very particular legalities of that, because I watched, I think it was maybe Micah or somebody else. They had a drone. What they had to do is they had to like duct tape it to a post, like up it, like and then turn it on. And that was like, because basically once it's up in the air, it's a bunch of weird laws. But yeah, it's there.
I love the United States government. Okay, here's my quote. I kind of said it earlier, but if you are living a life worth living, you're going to have people that disagree with you, and that's not a bad thing. There are objectively things that are true. There are objectively things that are false. And you are going to have people throughout life that disagree with you. If your goal is to go through life and have everybody like you, then the reality of that is you're actually going to go through life without having any real friends, and you're not going to do anything that's important. I'm not saying be argumentative and pick fights. Your goal should be to pursue friendship with everyone. But there are things that are true. There are things that are false. And because of that, there will be disagreements, and real friends disagree with each other. I think everyone in this group, we disagree on some level about something, I'm sure. But we talk about it, and that's because we're all real friends. Yep. Yeah.
Clock sucks.
I don't know if Knight muted himself, but yeah, like real friends disagree with each other and aren't afraid to talk about it. And if your circle of people, everybody agrees with everything all the time, you don't actually have as many friends as you think you do. So
Amen. So just to piggyback off that, and then we're gonna down our drinks and go. We were all groomsmen at Harrison's wedding. So if you are criticizing how close we are to one another, think again. We are all very close. We have a bond that is inseparable from a YouTube live stream chat.
I've
Mine's
seen all of
empty.
you naked.
I will drink to that. Are we gonna end it there?
yeah, well,
All right. Okay, hold on.
let's see here. Yeah, we don't have anything else. All right, I think we're going to do this more. This was fun. This was a good time. But
Woohoo.
boys, thank you for 3,000 subs.
Ugh.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you to
Thank you.
Gun
Thank
Prime.
you,
Say
Gun Prime.
more.
Thank you, Savtac, for inevitably
right.
sponsoring us.
Never going to happen.